Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. It is November 16. We passed mid-month November. We are rushing to our finale for the year as we come to a conclusion sooner than later on 2020. And I hope it's been a year of learning, as it has for most of us. Thanks for shutting that off. I wanted to pick up on something. I do, well, first of all, last week's presentation or last week's discussion between myself, yourselves, and Ben was by design to open the door to making ourselves available as a tool, as an instrument for your ABCs. And I have to tell you, I'm underwhelmed by the response between last week and this week in terms of utilization of my time and talent to be an A for you. So I'd like to put it out there to those of you who are listening to this playback. If you'd like to have either myself or Ben as an A in an ABC call, certainly make it worthy of us to be on the call, and that means do your homework, get the person to a point where they're receptive to a conversation with us, but definitely do it. Make that be your challenge to fill our time. And we'll tell you when we're busy. And so, or too busy, we'll schedule it. And I think it's just really important that you take this opportunity and run with it. The difference between the superheroes in our industry and the people who are just kind of getting by is the number of contacts people make and the presentation that and the leverage that they do with those contacts. Of course, the presentation that you heard from Tim Sales, I hope you all had a chance to watch that. That was on Ben's call on last Tuesday. That's a critical call, the comparison between network marketing and real estate. What was really important about that is not really the comparison between network marketing and real estate, although that's a nice comparison. It was the difference between the $25,000 earner, the $50,000 earner, the $75,000 earner, and the $100,000 earner. What was the difference? The willingness to do the work. And the work is the same, whether you're doing 25,000 or 100,000, it's identical. It's putting people through the pipeline. Now, the pipeline is a reference that we used to use back in the day, and I think it ought to come back. The idea of the pipeline, if you recall, this partnering process is what I referred to it, but essentially the pipeline is getting people, through this process. And as we engage people and move them through the process, that's how we determine, or they self-determine, what their interest is. But it's clearly the number of people through the pipeline that determines the heroes from those who just kind of make it go, barely make a living at this. There's a major event coming up. I haven't given you guys much information about it yet. You're probably all aware of it, but I'm going to have a discussion with Ben about this tomorrow as to how we're going to endorse and promote this. But I'll just give you a heads up. We're really enthusiastic about people participating in the Eric Worre event coming up in December. I even asked Luis Kasuga about this, our president, and he reminded me of a time not that long ago, a few years back, when he did a diamond training with a group of individuals who qualified for diamond training in Las Vegas, coinciding with the Eric Worre event, so that they could participate both in the Eric Worre event and then on the back end of that, a diamond training. And this is with his group from Latin America. And this specific event transitioned the group from Latin America to a group that was much more oriented toward bringing people into the business. They went from just a retail focus to a networking focus and attracting people into the Nikken business, into their organizations. It was a huge event for transitioning their consciousness, embracing their consciousness. And I think this network needs a real infusion of that. So I want to encourage everyone to seek out the Eric Worre event coming up in December. It's probably going to be the most significant network marketing event ever. And I mean that quite literally, ever. I think they're going to have more people in attendance online than they've ever had live. It'll be the largest network marketing event, I believe, ever, but and the quality of the speakers that they have, the content, you just want to be a fly on the wall on a Zoom call like this and be able to pick up on the frequency of the people there. So we're going to get into frequency tonight because I think it's critical. I think there's a reason why you're at where you're at. And I want to give you a tool that might help you on your day-to-day. So just to recap, for those who joined late, please watch the call that I did last week with Ben on the Aligning with Success, and watch the next day, the mentoring call with Ben. Those two calls back to back lay the foundation for what's coming and for what we want you to participate in, which is a more aggressive campaign to introduce people to NECAN, to network marketing, to our products, to our business, to our smart business, and to our transformational business. Anyway, so let's bring us to right here and right now. Every Sunday, my family, that's my immediate family, my sister's family, my brother's family, and a few other members of our close community, we do a meditation together on Zoom. So every Sunday, that's where I'll be. If you're trying to get me to do an ABC, you'll know probably not going to happen on a Sunday night because we're doing a family thing. But what we started to do was, because the law is the law, and I'm talking about the law of attraction, the law of vibration, to manifesting things is an exact science. And I mean that literally. It is an exact science. The degree to which you apply it is the only thing that's the variable. And it's always helpful and useful if you can apply it with more than one person, where two or more are gathered. There's a more powerful dynamic, more powerful effect. And when you can get all those individual visions together onto one frequency, onto one page, then your potential to make a manifestation happen, to experience collectively and individually something, happens like it's inevitable, and it just increases it from being a possibility to being a probability to becoming a fact. So we've been doing that through this call, Aligning with Success. The purpose and the goal of this call is to bring alignment to your mind, to your feelings, to your thoughts, to your actions, so that they are in alignment and consistent with what it is that you want to experience as a personal outcome in your life, or as an objective in your business. And I find that the only work there is, quite literally, is helping people stay focused on that. That's the majority of the effort in almost every single conversation in my life. And that's personal, family, everything. It's always about bringing it back to, what do you want, and how do these thoughts align with what it is that you want? And you'll find that about 95% of the time, we're off course. 95% of the time, we're off course, even the best of us. Now, you might think that's startling to hear that from you, Mike. I mean, surely you must be somebody who's always on course. Look at your success in life and so forth. No, 95% of the time, we're off course. It's just that my 95% might be a larger number than your 95%. I may have been off course with 95% of the time with 10 times more people than you, or 100 times more people than you. But no question about it, we're off course 95% of the time. Think of an airplane. An airplane actually is, in fact, off course almost 95% of the time. So how does an airplane get to its destination when it's flying great distances? The answer is it has a guidance system. If it weren't for the guidance system, it would not be able to get to where it needs to be. So the guidance system says, oh, you're off course. We need to correct. So it corrects. And then it comes back into alignment, and then it goes off course again. And then it says, we're off course, and it's constantly engaged in keeping that plane moving around a center line. It's a guidance system that keeps it moving around a center line. So 95% of the time, this plane is not on the center line. It's off course. And that's the way we get from here to there. But if we didn't have the guidance system on that airplane, we'd never get to our destination. And unfortunately, most people in the world have never been educated or taught what is their guidance system, how to tune into it, and how to make the course corrections in a self-governing way. They usually look to outside influences and outside sources for support, for corrections, for advice, etc., not realizing that most of the time the people they're asking are themselves 95% of the time off course. And so it's the blind leading the blind most of the time. We need a better system. We need a better approach to staying on point, to staying on track, and to developing our own sense of being able to make those course corrections and to know when, by tuning in. Now, it's hard to tune in when there's so many distractions in your life. Wouldn't you agree? Like when there's so many things going on in your life, keeping your mind busy, it's hard to tune in. And the problem is when we don't tune in, that's when we're off course 95% of the time. And if we don't catch ourselves sooner, we'll get so far off course that it'll look like we'll never get back on course. Has that ever happened to you? You feel, man, I am so far off course. There's no way I'm going to make this goal. There's no way I'm going to get this done by this day or this time. And you throw in the towel, you give up. So we've got to catch ourselves sooner than later and keep the guidance system tuned in and on point. So learning to address that, learning to step into ourselves and learning to recognize what it is that we should be doing and when we are not doing that is critical. And I'm going to tell you, it's less thoughts and more feelings. In fact, if you want a book to read, my daughter Savannah has been just constantly going on about this book that I recommended. In fact, I bought it for her because I knew it would be a book that would work for her. It's a book by Lynn Grabhorn, and it's a book that I've recommended over 20 plus years, and people have really benefited from this book. Lynn Grabhorn is the author, and the title of the book, it'll come to me. Excuse me, your life is waiting. Thank you, Maggie. Excuse me, your life is waiting. Honestly, I think if you're looking for a guidance system, you need to recognize that you have it built in. You just haven't been paying attention or learning its cues. And this book is masterful at helping you recognize what are the cues. And it all is based on frequency. And frequency is the vibration that you're in. And feeling is the conscious awareness of the vibration you're in. So let me repeat that. Frequency is the vibration that you're in, and feeling is the conscious awareness of the vibration you're in. So if you're not consciously aware of the frequency you're in, how do you know if you're on course or not? Because it's the frequency you're in that determines whether you're in alignment or out of alignment. And so becoming conscious of that and being a steward, a masterful steward of your own vibration is the key to success. Now, some people do this unconsciously. Some people are just so good at it, they don't ever think about it. They're just naturally doing this. And you can tell those people. You can't seem to get them off track because they're just constantly coming back. Yeah, they might lose it for a second or two, or you'll see them erupt or what, but you just see them come right back. They just have this ability to get themselves back on track, and they don't need outside help to do it. They just do it constantly. And those people are at the top of the totem pole in every aspect of life. So we want to become somebody who's conscious of what's going on within our frequency. I'm going to share something with you, and then we're going to get to an exercise. So in the meantime, I hope you have a piece of paper and a pad, or a pad and paper or a pen, whatever, because we're going to want to utilize that in a few minutes. Now, this is a very old PowerPoint presentation. You can tell by the graphics, you can tell it's not my best work. This is ancient, but it's some of my best work when it comes to information, content. So you should see my screen. Yes, give me a thumbs up if you see my screen. I don't have you all on camera, so I'm assuming, let's see. Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. All right, so this is the fundamentals. I'll give you the basics for this. You were born, I need my pen to work here. Let's see, can I do this? Show me. Well, I used to know how to do this. I can't find my my pen. So hopefully you can see my cursor. Can you see my cursor? Okay, that's good enough. You can see the cursor. All right, structure. So here you are, you land on the planet, you're born. You're born into a family, you're born into a culture, you're born into a race, you're born into a language, you're born into a religion, you're born into a socioeconomic status, all these things that you're born into, okay, define you at birth. Now, the feeling is to belong. And so what we want to do is we want to belong. And we do everything in our power to belong because it doesn't feel good when we don't belong. So we do what we're told. And so the structures that we belong to and wish to belong to until we start becoming aware are things that impart what we believe to be true about ourselves, about others, about our worldview, our God view, our self-image, etc., the image of others. We believe things to be true based on the structures we're born into. And so consider this. Not everybody's born in the same structure, clearly. So that's why we have contrary beliefs sometimes and contrasting beliefs about different things. And the most obvious one to point out would be religion. So religious beliefs, for instance, can be very divergent among different religions because they're born into the different religion. It's a different structure, even though we're supposedly having one God. So the structures lead to our beliefs. And we're too young in the first few years of our life to be able to reason whether these beliefs are acceptable, whether these structures are things that we want to belong to. It's only natural that in our first 5 or 6 years of upbringing, we just want to fit in. And so we're taught to fit in. That means we have to adopt these beliefs. Because if you don't, what happens? What happens if you step out of line? We don't want to step out of line. We don't like the feeling of stepping out of line. And so what we do is we adopt the beliefs. Now, what we believe to be true about ourselves, our worldview, others, etc., our self-image is what causes us to behave the way we behave. Sometimes you get into trouble and your parents say to you, "Why did you do that?" And your answer is, "I don't know." And of course you don't know. Most of the time, sometimes you don't know because it was the subconscious belief that you held that caused you to behave the way you behave. And you did something that was inappropriate, say. So we have these beliefs that lead to our behaviors. Now, our behaviors create results, cause, effect. Very straightforward. What we do causes an effect. The effect is what we call a result. And then we have this thing called a vision. We're either getting results that are moving us toward the realization of our vision, or we're not. How many of you are getting results that are not moving you toward the realization of your vision? Now, maybe it's a little bit late for me to ask that question, but let's say you're 30 years old. Let's rewind the clock and you're 30 years old, or maybe 35 years old, or maybe 40 years old. Go back. Do you recall a time when maybe you started to settle that your results were good enough and you didn't get so ambitious? You'd start to lose a little bit of that ambition. In other words, what happens is rather than making a course correction, we start to reduce our vision because it's too big a gap. It's too, our results are not consistent with our vision. We had big dreams. We had, we wanted great things out of life. And what are we getting? We're getting this. And so it's hard to live in this gap. So what are we trained to do, or what are we educated to do? Just learn to accept, learn to be happy with what you got. And so we reduce the vision until the vision matches the results. And now we become complacent. And then we start to justify the results. Now we start to say to people, well, I'm doing the best I can. You know, look at so-and-so and look at so-and-so. They're not doing any better. And then, of course, we pay attention to things like the media and the news and so forth. And they remind you of how bad it is for somebody else and everybody else. And so you start to feel better about your situation. Even though you weren't happy with it, you start to become satisfied or maybe complacent about it because you know it's what you got and other people are worse off. That's the information you're taking in. And so then we're taught, you know, we should be grateful for that. And so our spirit, that thing that we're born with that came with no program, has been programmed. And it's programmed and it's limited, it's capped. And now, 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, things aren't really any different, are they? Your vision and your results are the same. Then you join a thing called Nikan. You join a company of Nikan, or maybe you partner with somebody in Nikan, and they start talking about their dream and what they want to create. And you get excited and you think, that's perfect. That sounds amazing. I want to do that too. But your experience in life has taught you what? That the vision and the results, they have to be the same. And so that vision doesn't stay with you very long. Pretty soon you start to settle in because you haven't changed what you needed to change, which was the trajectory. You're still on the same trajectory, even though you have a new vision. You haven't changed the trajectory. So we need to reset, if you will, the program. We need to work towards our purpose, the fulfillment of our purpose, which you all know in Nikan is balance in the 5 pillars of health. So to work towards the fulfillment of our purpose is by definition success. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. And it is worthy of you to have a healthy life, to grow in your body, your mind, family, society, and finances in greater ways, in more abundant ways, to be in alignment with that. So how do we do that? We have to work backwards. So I'm not sure if this is gonna give me the way, yeah, okay. So we're gonna work backwards. What we wanna do is we wanna start at the top with an understanding of our purpose. So I'm gonna ask you to do a 2-minute workshop with me here. 2 minutes. We're going to take 2 minutes and I want you to write as many things as you can write on a piece of paper. Okay, so let me stop sharing here for a second. We're going to take 2 minutes and you're going to write as many things on a piece of paper about what it feels like if you're living your purpose, your ideal purpose. I want to know the feeling. What does it feel like living your ideal purpose? Write words that make you feel like you are living your ideal purpose. Go ahead and do that right now. We're going to take 2 minutes. I'm going to put a timer on. Go ahead and start writing words that make you feel like you're living your ideal purpose. Hey Siri, set my timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
All right, let's do this. Words that describe in feelings your ideal life. One more minute. Thirty seconds. Just words. Words that describe how you feel living your ideal life. All right. Okay, great. Thank you. Now, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to scan this page, okay? and this is just an example of what I want you to do, because I'm going to want you to do this on your own for more than this one exercise. So what I want you to do is I want you to pick one feeling, maybe your favorite feeling. Pick one feeling, because we're going to take another minute, just 60 seconds, and I'm going to ask you to move into that feeling with your eyes closed. I'm going to ask you to really synchronize with the feeling. So pick one, and we're going to set the timer again. Hey Siri, set timer for 1 minute. Oh, she didn't hear me. Hey Siri, set the timer for 1 minute, please.
Okay, your timer is set for 1 minute.
All right, please, everybody close your eyes and go into that space of what it feels like to feel that feeling in your ideal life. It is so awesome to be you. All right, let's bring you out of that now. Now, can you imagine doing that for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes? Maybe picking 2 or 3 or 4 more words and just going to the next word and feeling that feeling. Maybe playing some music in the background that really brings you to a state of calm, energized. We did that exercise last night. It was amazing. Why am I asking you to do this? Okay, first of all, does anyone want to share what you're feeling? Just what was the word? What's the feeling?
Loved.
Pardon me?
Loved.
Loved.
Exhilarated.
Joy.
Grateful.
Grateful.
Empowered.
Freedom.
Freedom.
Extreme gratitude.
Uplifted.
Creative.
I didn't hear that last one. I heard
Aligned
creative.
with
What was the feeling?
aligned with the
Aligned.
universe.
With nature, with the universe.
Excited.
So energized? All right. Loved, exhilarated, joy, grateful, empowered, freedom, extreme gratitude, uplifted, creative, aligned with the universe. I can't read my own writing. Exhilarated. No, I think there was another one. Maybe that was it. Excited. Sorry, excited. All right. So those are amazing words. That's what you feel. Now, if you're living your ideal life and that's how you feel, how often do you reckon you feel that way in the course of a day?
Where the shift is needed.
Right? So, I mean, if you all of a sudden tuned in, just say, okay, you know what? Let's just look at this day. Today happened, right? So go through your day. Start off when your eyes opened in bed and you were reluctant to get out of bed or what. Go through from the moment your eyes are, before you're now awake, you're conscious. It's time to do whatever next. how much of this day to day were you feeling this feeling? Now, I'm sure you'll agree, you're probably off course a good 90 or 95% of the time, right? So if we were really living our purpose, we would be feeling like the person living our purpose. Yet what people are trying to do is they're trying to get something done. And if they're not getting that thing done, then they're not in alignment with the feeling of the person who's in alignment with their purpose. Hence, we're out of alignment. Now, if you are out of alignment, how are you going to progress towards the realization of your vision? See, we continually make the same mistake. We think that the future is in the future, that our success is in the future, that the result that we are seeking is in the future. If you continually do that, then you're not living your purpose. Because if you were living your purpose, the result already exists. It's already in alignment with your purpose. You just haven't yet manifested it, but there's no question in your mind as to whether you're manifesting it. You would never live with anxiety. Anxiety would become a thing of the past. So let me help close this gap here. Let's get back to our drawing here. So if we are in alignment, then we're living on purpose. We're living with a feeling of purpose. We're living in alignment with that purpose. And you've got words that describe it. You already know what it feels like to be you, living your purpose. Now, what does it look like in terms of milestones? That's vision. Your vision are basically the things that lead you toward the realization of the fulfillment of your purpose. So there's business goals and there's personal goals. They're milestones. In Nikan, we have milestones. In Nikan, we have the compensation plan. Those are milestones. We have the incentives program. Those are milestones. So vision is what you can see. You can draw it in a picture. You can cut it out in a picture. It's our vision board. It's our life cycle plan. So you can make sense of it because it's something you can visualize in your mind's eye. Now that you know what it feels like to be you as the person living on purpose, what I want you to get clear about is what it looks like to be you living on purpose. What does it look like? How do you behave? How do you stand? How do you speak? How often do you talk to people? Etc., etc. Get a picture of it, of the you. See, what I would like to do is help you close a gap in your mind. The idea that there's a future of you, there's a future version of yourself in the future. We want to bring that future version of yourself into the present. Otherwise, you're out of alignment. Anytime the future self is in the future, you're out of alignment. You're living out of alignment. You're living the past. You're not living the future self as though the future self is the current self. The law of attraction demands that you are in harmony, in frequency with the outcome you are seeking to express, the outcome you are seeking to experience. Well, we just went through the ideal scenario, your ideal life. However many success stories you've had between now and then. So let's take an example so we can make this really strong and concrete in your mind. It is November 2021. And you know, like Madeline Zaworski, you know you got Team Kaizen in the bag because it's done. So you're just going to sail into December, cruise into December and the holidays because it's already done. You got it done. Now you don't have to get it done. It's done. So now, how does Madeline feel about the fact that she's got it done? 2020 Team Kaizen. How does it feel, Madeline? It's done. Is there any anxiety about it? Nope.
Not right now. No.
No. Okay, so let's put ourselves in Madeline's shoes. It's done. So it's now the year 2021. It's November 2021. It is done. How does it feel? Now, if you can feel what it feels like to be your ideal self, what does it feel to, wouldn't it feel the same thing? Wouldn't you be feeling pretty much emotionally the same way about having had it done? It's November 16, 2021, and you're like, man, what am I going to do for the rest of the month, for the rest of the year? I'm just going to have some fun, see what else I got to do, who else I can help. It's done. So let's say the milestone, the vision is Team Kaizen 2021. If we can get in touch with the person, that is the you, who has already qualified for Team Kaizen 2021, November 16, 2021, if we can get in touch with that person, feel the feelings of that person, see that person, will you agree with me? Will you agree that you have developed a lot? You've changed. There are things about you that are not the same. That has to have been the case, because if there wasn't, you would already be Team Kaizen. So something about you, or things about you, and obviously the results in your life in Nikan has changed because you are Team Kaizen now. You've done what it takes. So that's happened. So there's been growth. There's been development between who you were today, November 16, 2020, and who you are November 16, 2021. These are not the same people. How do I know that? Because they have different results. And how do I know that they're different results? Because the only way they could have different results is if they had different behavior. And there's only one way they could have different behavior. They have different beliefs. Therefore, they can't be the same person. That person's grown. Now, what did they plug into? What did they do between now and then to have achieved this? What's the structure they participated in or developed in order to create the beliefs that they now have, because they've now got it done? What would that structure look like? Would it be something that kept them on course more often than not? Would that structure be something that kept them on course more often than not? Certainly more often than they have been up to now. Yes or no? Yeah. So what is that thing that you could do every single day that gets you on course more often than not? Course corrects you and keeps you course correcting more often than not through 2021. What is that thing that's going to change about you that's going to create the beliefs necessary to support the behavior and the results that are the fulfillment of that? What is that thing? What is the structure? What is the commitment? And who are you going to give permission to keep you on course? Who will you give permission to be part of your guidance system? You see how clearly important this is? Something about you has to change for your results to change. And that means your behaviors will change, and that means your belief must change, and therefore, you're going to have to tap into something that gives you a different set of beliefs. Now, if you wanted to know how to go Team Kaizen in 2021, who should you be asking? Who should you be rubbing shoulders with and rubbing elbows with and hanging out with and having tea on the internet with and so forth? Who would that be? I'll tell you, it's really
Those who have already
simple.
made team.
Pardon me?
Yeah, those who Those who have already done it?
Yes. That's certainly where I'd start. I would start with the people who are making it already happen, who've already done it, who already have the belief, who already have the behavior, who've already done something that they could point to and say, this is my regiment. This is how I keep myself on point. This is how I focus. This is how I keep myself. And you could just simply say, okay, I'm going to do exactly as you say. I'm going to do exactly what you do. And I want you to hold me accountable. Do that for me as well, please. That would be the simplest thing to do. But one thing for sure, you're never going to get where you want to go until you become the person who's that person. That's never going to happen. Your results will not change until you change, period, end of story. And the only way to change your results is to change your behavior. And the only way that change your behavior is to change the governing system. The governor is the beliefs. So we've got to modify those beliefs. So it starts with finding the people who've got it done. Here's my tip for you today. It's, what does it feel like to be the person who's got it done? You already know what it feels like to be the ideal you. Would the ideal you include somebody who qualified as a member of Team Kaizen 2021? Yes or no? If you make that decision today, then we can start working on aligning you with what are the milestones. What are the milestones so that by November 2021, it's done? What am I doing on a monthly basis so that by November 2021, what does that translate into a weekly basis? What does that translate into a daily basis? What are the milestones? What's the behavior? Now, what do I got to believe to be true about myself? About others? About network marketing? About Niken? About the future? What do I have to believe to be true? So I'm going to ask you to take 2 minutes now to start writing. What do you have to believe to be true in order to be you? November 16, 2021, a new Team Kaizen member. What do you have to be true? What do you have to believe to be true about you? Again, in words, what do you have to believe to be true about you to be you? The qualifier for Team Kaizen 2021. So let's take 2 minutes and write this down. Hey Siri, set timer for 2 minutes.
Okay, 2 minutes and counting.
Forty-five seconds. All right. Awesome. Let's hear a few things that you need to believe about yourself to be true. Anyone?
Capable.
Pardon me?
Capable.
Capable. Would you write that down as I am capable?
Worthy.
I am worthy. Anyone else?
I love what I do.
I love what I do.
I'm purpose driven, and my purpose is in alignment with Niken's. And I want to be a part. I am a part, not want to be. I am a part of that purpose and mission.
I am purpose driven and I am in alignment with my purpose and Niken's purpose. Anyone else? What do you have
Disciplined.
to be? Disciplined. I am disciplined.
Determined.
I am determined.
I am competent.
I am competent. One
I
more.
am committed. I am
Committed. I am committed. All right. These are all,
intentional.
pardon me?
Authentic.
I am authentic. That was one of mine. I put sincere. I am authentic.
Intentional.
I am intentional. Now think about this, folks. See how easy this is? You know exactly who you are. You know exactly who you are, and you know exactly how you feel. If you're living your purpose and you are achieving your objective, if you're the person who is living that truth and you're in alignment with that truth, what can stop you? Nothing. So there is your guidance system. Now you know when you're in alignment, your thoughts, your feelings about you have to be in alignment with success in order for success to ensue. Now it's really easy to know if you're off course because you're not feeling those feelings, you're not thinking those thoughts. So now you've got to become someone who becomes conscious of your thoughts and your feelings. So if you want, keep this piece of paper with you. Maybe put it on a small card. Do something to keep it with you because you've got to exercise this muscle. This is not something you're in the habit of doing. We need to form a new habit. And that's the structure. By putting it on a card, you're now carrying something which is a structure. It is something designed to help you stay on course, to believe the beliefs that you need to believe. And you wrote them down in the form of an affirmation. I am these things, not I will be these things, or I would be these things, or I would have these things. I am these things. You need to bring that future you into the present. Now, you know how you feel? Make those feeling words maybe on the backside. I feel this way. I feel this way. So on one side of the card, you have all the things you believe to be true about yourself. And on the flip side, you have all the things that you feel about yourself if you're in alignment with your purpose. Now, how does a person like that show up in life? If you're that person from the moment you wake up, and that's how you show up in life, how do you think that's going to affect outcomes?
You're going to appear vibrant.
Attractive, healthy, going someplace, being someone. And in this world, you're going to stand out like a blazing sun. And if you want to attract people into whatever it is that you're doing, you know that scene from When Harry Met Sally, I'll have what she's having. You want to attract people to have what you're having, you better have something going for you. And it's got to show up, not just when you're, on show. It's got to be, it's easy to show up and fake it when you're in front of somebody. But the 95% of the time you're off course is having a direct impact on the outcome. We've got to get you on course more often than not. Not when somebody's watching, but when you're even alone with yourself. What's your self-talk? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you emoting? Because the universe is listening 24/7. It does not sleep. You're manifesting 24/7. So it's really, really important we start to become self-governing systems. Now, last piece of this. If the you in the future is now you in the present, that means the law is now being adhered to. And as I remind you, if I strum one guitar, the other guitar is going to vibrate and make the same sound. That's called harmonic resonance. That's the universe we live in. We call it the law of attraction, but truthfully, it's not. It's actually the law of vibration. And everything vibrates. Everything has a frequency. Your outcome, your results is a frequency. You need to attain that frequency in order to experience those results. Well, that means what? I need to experience it as though it already has happened, which means I need to think the thoughts that that person would think, and I need to feel the feelings that that person would feel. When do I need to think those thoughts, and when do I need to feel those feelings?
Now.
Now. Every now. Every now, and then you are, by definition, manifesting it. If you think contrary thoughts and feelings, then you're going to send contrary waves or vibration into the situation. So all we need to become is really astute listeners to what we're thinking and what we're feeling, and give somebody permission to help keep us on track. And definitely you want to get better at refining what it looks and feels like. Ask somebody who's done it. Stay close to somebody who's done it. Because what they will do is they will assure you you can do it. And you know what? You're going to believe them. And you know why you're going to believe them? Because they would know. They would know because they did it. Not a theory. They would know. That's why it's important to have a coach or a mentor that can help you get to where you want to go, because they've been there. They know it. So last piece is this. If this is where I guess I'm not sure I'm doing it in the right way for you guys. So if this is where I'm starting and this is where I'm ending up in terms of a result, it means I'm changing as a human being, because my results are now a different reflection of what they used to be. By definition, that means I'm a different frequency than I used to be. By definition, that means I'm a different person than I used to be. So the old self has to die to let the new self be born. Now, when does the old self have to die?
Now.
Now. You have to be that new self now. And the law takes over. You start watering the seed that you've planted now, and it must manifest and bear fruit. It's the law. It's not possible to not do that. It's out of your hands. It's the law. So what does it mean to be faithful? It means to be faithful to that version of yourself that is in alignment with the outcome you're seeking. And when you are not faithful to that person, you are now, what's the word? When you're not faithful, you are, oh my God, what's the word? Anyway, that's what you are to that future self. You're not faithful. You've got to be faithful. You're betraying. Do not betray yourself. Be faithful, acting in faith, Having faith is not faith in an invisible God that's going to wave a magic wand and dispel on you whatever. That's not how God operates. The laws of God are completely immutable. They're not conditional. They're equal for everybody, and they work both sides of the coin. So I'm telling you, these are the laws, and this is how this is the law, and this is how this law works. This law is a mirror. It reflects to you who you are being. So all you've got to be is faithful to that version of self that is living in the future self in the now. You know what it feels like? You know the thoughts that you think about yourself and others. Maintain those thoughts, maintain those feelings, and trust the law. Have faith that the law cannot fail you. You were born in the likeness and image of the Creator, which means you create as does the Creator. Let there be light, and there was light. So the moment you assume you are that person and you are faithful to the assumption, you must manifest that outcome. So you're a Team Kaizen member, November 2016, 2021. You know what it looks like. You know what it feels like. You want to bring that vision a little bit closer to home? Start hanging out and talking to the people who've done it. Make that your goal, your exercise. Every single day, do what you've got to do to bring that future self now. That's your alignment. You're either in or out of alignment with that future self. Either in alignment or out of alignment. You're either thinking and feeling like that future self, or you're not in every situation. So when you find yourself out of alignment, snap out of it. Get back. And you'll accelerate your progress towards the finish line, and you will manifest that outcome. So now, how would you live between now and then? How would you live between now and then, knowing full well that the then is actually the now, that it's inevitable because it's the law? Would you be fearful of tomorrow or next day or anything? Would anything concern you? If you are on November 16th looking at your report and saying, I'm Team Kaizen 2020, that means I've done a lot of things, I've changed a lot of circumstances, things have lined up. Would you be running around worried about getting COVID? Even if you did, you're still that person on the 20th, November 16, 2021. That means you've got it, gotten past it, and off you go. Like, think about it. No matter what happens between now and then, no matter what happens, no matter who you meet, no matter what the situations are, they're all just part of the plan. They're just all part of the path that you're on because you've made a decision and you've acted faithfully to that outcome. Will it be this person that joins your business? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. And the only time you'll know is when you're looking back and you're saying, oh, that's how it happened. So that time that person rejected me was actually part of the process. And that time that person said yes, but then quit 2 days later was part of the process because it's done. So do I really care what didn't get done? No. So think about it. It's November 16, 2021. Lots has happened. Do you care if some things didn't happen the way you thought they were going to happen? Who cares? It's done. You got it done anyway. So now, why have any anxiety about anything?
Can I share a few things, Michael?
Sure.
Okay. First of all, and the ladies leading ladies, the last time on Halloween, there were several of us, Barb is on here, that were interviewed on being in Team Kaizen, or almost there, and tips for the past years, when we wanted the past years. And it wasn't recorded. So then another one was recorded. Heather did the interviewing. So that is on Ladies Leading Ladies, and tips are on there. But, so that everybody doesn't have to call. It's right there. And it's not just me. It's Barb and the others. There's others that this month for sure will be in Team Kaizen. But in that interview, and what else is happening, it's plugging into this. And it's the daily activities, that trajectory, that slide that I've been covering, that you have to keep doing the behaviors and then they do become the habits. Now, in the feeling of that, since it's done, it is amazing as to what's happened. You know, a former party center owner that I used to have all my events there. Well, all of a sudden, you know, we reconnected and she's looking for this and she's looking for it now. And I was shocked because she came to me. And then there was another person that I just called from seeing something in the newspaper. We're meeting this week. And so that confidence does build up and it's feeling pretty good. So I just wanted to share that it will happen. And I've been listening to Mike and practicing for a lot of years now and getting off course. But there is, again, that anxiety, just like Ben speaks about in his book and the interviews that he's promoted. It's out of the adversity and then a little bit of the anxiety again. But then you say, I can, I did it before, and I can, and I am doing it again. Now, the one last thing I want to say is mastermind teams and dyad partners, not just mentors and coaches. I mean, not that they're not important, but the swim buddies that we've had, that was a term that one of the Humans Being More teachers, Jim Perry, used all the time, swim buddies. And so the swim buddies that we've had, that we've traveled with in previous times and that we've met on these teams are really very important. So I like the mastermind team concept and having somebody to call up those, when you're feeling down, then you call somebody that helps you boost you up again, and you're complementary.
They remind you who you are.
They remind you who you are. They're really a mirror to look in, and that it's okay. It's okay to have somebody to listen to, and particularly when you're alone. I'm alone. I don't have a partner in the business, and I don't have a spouse. So that is very important, and developing, trusting, and relationshiping. And I have to compliment Barb Satterwhite, Miss Relationshipping in the shipping business and so forth. And so we help be the wind under one another's wings, that collaboration. And that collaboration and cross-line support is critical, along with choosing the right mentors.
Absolutely. Thank you, Madeline. So to close this up then, be faithful to who you are, that you want to experience yourself as in the very near future, that person who has achieved certain milestones that you've defined what they are, but you know how now, through this exercise, how to explore the feeling of who you are, the one that is living on purpose, and the one that is capable of achieving the outcome. You know the thoughts you think about yourself, what you believe to be true about yourself. This is an exercise you should keep close to you, because what you now need to do is transform into this person and maintain the transformation faithfully as you go about your life, as you go about your business. The law takes care of the rest. You will notice your behaviors start to change. You won't be hesitant to talk to people. You won't be hesitant to ask for referrals. You won't be hesitant to pick up the phone. You won't be hesitant to go out and shop and be in this world. You won't buy into the nonsense that is trying to make you what you are not. You'll only support the ideas that are in alignment with who you are. And the universe must abide, because it is the law of God. It is the law of nature. So thanks for being on this call. Please share this video if you think it's important. I may have a tool that I'll share that I use, that I created. It makes reference to a thing called the Wellness Track. Essentially what that is a system where it asks for, do you believe, what's your level of belief? So we'll refer to the Wellness Track as the idea of what we just discussed here today, the aligning with success concept. So that's it for today. Thanks for joining me. Where do you listen to last week's call is the question. All of the calls that we record, myself, Ben, most of our calls are on the Royal Alliance YouTube channel, the Royal Alliance. Go to that YouTube channel and you'll see the different lists of calls that we do. Mine is called Aligning with Success. Ben's is called a mentoring call with Ben, weekly mentoring call. And there's other things there, the Zoom in that we've recorded, etc. So please jump in and share. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.